Let's talk about these card reveals that dropped today. We've got a set of 4 ultra rares that all seem to be backpage ultra rares. And I assume that this marks the official start of spoiler season, so I'm probably going to make this a little series where I just give my snap reactions. I'm not going to be going in depth on my reactions because, again, we've only seen these cards for a few hours, so I haven't had a lot of time to consider very, very specific combos. But I'll give my snap reaction and then my snap grade. And then maybe, in a few months when these cards come out, we'll look back at my grades and realize that I was terribly silly with how I did it. Before I jump into the grades, because we haven't seen a lot of the new set yet and we have these new card frames, let's just talk about the art. I love this art. Everything just pops out at me. It's very bright. It makes me happy. To me, the colors just pop off of the card and it looks very, very sleek and minimalist. So I am personally in love with these cards. I really like what they did, having this, even though they're ultra rares. So because ultra rares don't have a text box background, they have more art in the background instead of this here being non-opaque. But they do have this shading to make you realize that this is a foundation, this is an attack because of the orange, this is an asset from the green, this is an action from the blue, but you can also still see the art. So I really, really like what they did there. And these silver white borders are not for everything. They're only for ultra rares. Remember that XRs are going to be full art borderless cards, and then commons, uncommons, and rares are just going to have black borders. So I really like what they did there as well. The symbols on the bottom, like on this card, they're fine because they really pop. But on like the Hitoshi Shinso Haunting Attack, these symbols are a little hard to tell the color apart from. Whereas these ones are fine, these ones are fine. I feel like maybe it's just this very specific card having this like white and then like off eggshell white or some sort of like yellow and then this purplish void. It is kind of hard to tell these symbols on this card. So that is a downside of these being pretty small. The keywords being at the very bottom, I'm 100% fine with it. It can look a little awkward when there's this separation between the text, but over here on the Pro Hero, like, it looks totally fine. So my reaction is I really like the new art style and I like where we are going. So I give them an A++ on design and art here. All right, let's talk about the very specific cards and what my grades are. All right, let's start just left to right. Incredible display, a 2 diff, 3 mid block, 5 check on Chaos, Earth, and Life. And it has response, commit, discard 1 momentum. After your rival plays a non-character responsibility, cancel it. Now this is very, very situational, but it can be extremely powerful. Let's just brainstorm real quick some responsibilities this could cancel. On offense, this could cancel an opposing Faith Shield to where they don't get to flip your attack and remove or I guess they still remove the Faith Shield, but they don't get to flip your attack. So that could keep your combos alive. And it keeps your momentum, of course. And if they block and it was a high or low attack, then they're still taking half damage. Could be very, very big. If you're playing a Jiro, you could cancel a specialized sound waves response of maybe the draw. So if they stack their deck with a specialized sound waves on top, then you could commit Incredible Display and not let them draw their sound waves. Of course, they probably wouldn't stack their deck with the sound waves if they saw that you had this card and you had momentum ready. You could cancel a Rejuvenating Smash to where they don't get to draw 2, gain 2. You could cancel things like Showdown and League of Villains. I know I'm missing some major responses that you could cancel, but situational, definitely. You're probably playing it for the bottom response. Commit, after you block with a foundation, add it to your hand. Very, very powerful. This is basically Struggling with Studies, except it's repeatable, because Struggling with Studies you have to flip, and then it's only after their 3rd attack. Whereas this, you can commit, so you can use it on future turns. It's repeatable, and you can bring back your foundation right back into your hand. Very, very powerful, especially if your rival is running a mono zone strategy. So if they only have mids and you like block with the tight-lipped, pick back up your tight-lipped. That's very, very strong. Or if you block with like a self-sacrifice and they're running all lows, and you get to just pick it right back up. Think about like it shares 2 symbols with Overhaul, Earth and Life Overhaul. Earth Overhaul doesn't get passing the torch and kind of struggles with draw. And so just imagine with Overhaul, you get to block from your stage block with the foundation, ignoring progressive, commit this, and bring that foundation right back into your hand to block again. So very, very nice there. Of course, if you're on Chaos, you get Struggling with Studies and Incredible Display, so you can just block. You know, it's going to be a speed problem whether or not you're blocking. It's not going to be a cards in hand problem. I see this as an A tier card. I see this finding play everywhere. It is going to struggle a little bit since it's a 2 difficulty, so it's going to struggle for space. But so I don't see it being like a 4 of on this card, but I do see it being a 2 of in a lot of decks on these symbols. It will be one of the rare foundation ultra rares that's actually sought after. Let's move into the attack. The Haunting of Hitoshi Shinso. And I'm not sure this means that we're going to get a second Shinso or not, because it is a back page attack, 133 out of 153, so he's definitely not getting a full kit if we are getting, but we might get a back page Shinso, Shinso 2, but we get Enhance. This attack gets stun 2. Your rival may flip 2 foundations to cancel this effect. Both of those are very, very good. Because, right, I forgot to mention our base stats. It's a 3 high 6 on a 5 def. So on a 5 def, you would expect at least 10 stats, and here we have 9 stats. So it's decently statted, but it's not solid stats. So you're definitely playing this for the enhances. And stun 2 makes this card nice, or flip 2 is also very nice. And then enhance draw 2 cards. Okay, every attack that says draw 2 cards always sees play, right? But your rival may discard 1 card to cancel this effect. And we like making our rival discard sometimes. The fundamental problem with this card is that, personally, I hate cards that give your rival the choice. And here, both enhances give your rival the choice. So when you read this card, you think, 3 high 6, stun 2, flip 2, draw 2, discard 1. This is an insane attack. And then you realize that your rival's going to choose which of those 2 of the 4 that they do. And they're always going to choose the one that, of course, benefits them and not you. So you are always getting the worst of these 2. Yeah, I hate cards like that because you can't reliably build your deck around them because your rival can so easily mess you up. And then Shinso Echo is very, very neat. So this is probably going to be a very powerful effect in Shinso. This kind of tells me that we're going to see Shinso 2. Because to be honest, I can't really remember Shinso 1. He gets like, you name the zone, everything gets 2 speed, and then you get to, what's his bottom? Enhance. Let me look this up real quick. And then it also, I'll just talk while I do it. And then it also has Taunt. So the other downside to this card is it doesn't have any solid keywords, right? And so if you're going to play this card, you're probably playing a attack package that is not keyword locked, which is sometimes kind of hard to do in the MHA only format. It seems like everything is keyword locked into something, be that charge, punch, or ranged. Okay, here we have Shinso 1. Response, once per turn, after your rival's attack resolves, reveal 1 random card in their hand. They must play that as their next form or discard it. Okay, so it kind of goes along with the discard strategy. Interesting. 2 speed. It is a 3 speed attack, so it kind of goes along with that. Since this doesn't really go as Shinso 1 that much, I suspect we're going to see a Shinso 2. I'll be very surprised if we don't. Shinso Echo, if you can echo this attack, it's going to be very powerful, because even if they choose the thing that they don't like, getting stunned 2 twice or getting flipped 2 twice is just nutty. So, or discard 2. So in Shinso, this is probably going to be very, very playable, and everybody else it's not. So I'm going to give it a C+. It depends on how good Shinso 2 is, right? If Shinso 2 looks like he's going to be a meta character, then of course this could go into the B tier. But it's really, I think this is going to basically be a Shinso only attack. I don't really see it finding play in a lot of attack packages. All right, let's move on to the asset. Pro Hero Rankings. While this card is in your stage, it's a 1 diff, 1 mid block. And it's on every single symbol. And it has Pro Hero Breaker 1, and it's unique. So it's a 1 difficulty asset that's a solid block, very easy to build. So there's not a lot of cost here, but the only cost is that it's an asset and not a foundation. But since it's infinity, you can play this card in Mimic and treat it as a foundation. Okay, while this card is in your stage, after you cycle your deck, you may choose up to 5 attacks that were removed due to the cycle and shuffle them into your deck. That's very, very strong. But, you know, I would say like 60% of games probably end before somebody cycles. So most of the time that's going to be pretty blank. But when this does happen, that is a very, very strong ability, because you get to selectively choose the 5 and shuffle them back into your deck. Enhance, commit, reveal your hand. That has a huge cost. Your non-throw attack gets +1 damage for each foundation revealed this way, maximum 10. I'm very surprised that the maximum is that high and not a little lower. So very cool there. I feel like you would only ever play this if this is a lethal attack, and you're normally only going to add 3 to 4 damage, but it is infinity, so it can be played on any symbol. So you could be playing this in like an All Might 3, where you know if you're playing Valiant Assault plus All Might 3, you're like a 10, 12-hander, and you can easily reveal 6 or 7 foundations. If you're like All Might, if you're playing the Degenerate All Might 4 deck, well, you're going to obviously hit that max every time. Not that you needed more damage on your insane Detroit Smash, though. I guess it gives you another momentum for the EX. But yeah, that's very neat. I could see it finding play, because if commit, reveal, give your last attack 4 or 5 damage, no doubt that that's very, very strong. That can be the difference between killing someone or not. I can just make all the difference. An extra 4 or 5 damage, that's like an extra attack that you got to play for free. So, and it's the fundamental problem is that it's an asset, right? And it's not a foundation. So it has a big opportunity cost that you don't get to build it and pass checks with it. And then if you're playing it as an asset, then it's coming at the cost of the other assets that you could be playing. So ultimately, I don't really see it finding play. I am going to give it a B-, because there's definitely going to be a lot of strategies where this could be good. And especially in like a character like Mimic. Mimic is going to absolutely love this. All right, Airy Smiles. 3 difficulty action, 2 high block. Response, flip 1 foundation. After you block with this card, your rival must play a non-attack card as your next form or pass. Extremely strong. That's basically learning the standards, right? It can just end an attack string. And then enhance, remove, add 1 foundation from your stage to the top of your deck. I don't think this enhance is good at all, personally. And the reason is that it's a 3 difficulty action. So if you're playing this on your first card, you're playing it on a 4. And then there's a chance that you have to commit a foundation. If you're playing this on your second attack, you're going to be checking a 5. It does share symbols, right? These are All Might 3 symbols, error, all, and good. So most of the time you're using this enhance, you're not using this to pass a future check, because you're playing this either, at a 4 on a minimum, right? So you're not using this to pass, you're not stacking your deck with a 5. You wouldn't waste a card from hand and having to check a 4 just so that you can potentially save 1 to your check. So I really don't see it as like stacking your deck. So you're doing it to draw the attack, right? So you're doing it to draw either with like a back alley haymaker, rejuvenating smash, valiant assault. The problem is like rejuvenating is a response, so it's not going to work well with this. And then valiant assault has to be played as your second attack to get the draw off. Let's think about other cards like hardened jab as drawing from your stage, not from your deck. It could definitely work with back alley haymaker to draw, but again, you'd be playing it on a 4 to draw the attack down. So I don't see this enhance. Maybe I'm just thinking of All Might. Maybe I'm just thinking of good punches too much. I got to think of the air and all symbols, but I don't see this action being played for the enhance. Like it could sometimes be useful, but again, it's coming at the opportunity cost of being an action. And typically you're only using 10% of your deck for actions and assets. And so it's really about the response. And the response, of course, if they have an incredible display, they're just going to cancel your Airy Smiles, right? So I'm going to give this a C- here. I don't really see it finding play, although no card in this game is bad, so it can definitely see play. I just heard my family got home, so I am going to go and be a dad. But we also saw the Ochaka and Toga decks released. Very, very cool. I'm excited to get into these. I think my wife and I could definitely play these together and have a lot of fun. But that is going to do it for me. I will see y'all later tonight for the results of my competition for Spike and Vash.